There you go, Senator Sabina Paris. Brought her on, of course, talk about the Department of Labor and the announcement that those who were working reduced hours will not qualify for pandemic unemployment assistance. If you're just joining us, you miss a link, you miss a lot. Dave De La Sola started the show off responding to some of the statements that were made by Congressman Mike Nicholas, and he kind of doubled down and said, according to the latest guidance that he has,
right,
the information that he released on this show yesterday remains accurate.
But he is hoping that he is wrong.
Of course, yeah. And Congressman Nicholas also had said that, and I think Governor Leon Guerrero echoed this in her press release, that they're going to be knocking on some doors in D.C. And, Democrat administration, Democrat governor, it kind of seems like maybe we should have more of an in. And hopefully that works out. It's 8:10. We'll get back into this conversation with. I think we lost Senator Rijel.
Yeah. He might call back in.
Okay, but we did have Simon Sanchez at CCU, of course, talking utilities.
And I guess his reaction to the bills
Right,
that were
yeah.
introduced.
Yeah.
Can you mute that? Turn it down.
Morning, Simon.
Oh, are we live?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On Memorex? Good morning, Chris.
Thanks,
Good morning,
son.
Sabrina.
Simon?
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. We did have Senator Rijel. I think we might have lost him, but obviously wanted to get you on to get you guys. I was hoping for a little back and forth here. Get you on to kind of respond to some of these measures that Senator Rijel has introduced.
Okay, sure. Yeah, the one I'm aware of, thanks to Sabrina, was I guess he's reintroduced the bill to try to interfere with the PUC's rate-making powers in setting net metering rates and the way in which a customer, an individual ratepayer, can go get their own solar system and connect to the Guam Power Authority system. Right now, there's about 2,300 ratepayers that have their own system, but they use the Guam Power Authority system essentially as their battery, as their backup at night. Yes, they give us energy during the day, so we give them credit for that. But then when we give them energy in the night, we offset that credit and you net out the difference. And if the ratepayer gives you more power that month than GPA gave them, then we pay them. And if not, we charge them the difference. But right now, the way it works, and it was designed this way because many states, in order to get renewables going, and when Speaker Ben and I, we designed the first policy of the legislature about setting a renewable energy goal. And we all agreed that let's get it started. So we'll start with this net metering process where we will pay you for the net energy you give us. And we'll pay you not only for the fuel you'll save us, but we'll pay you for even the generator that is used at night to give you energy, for the power lines that takes the energy to your house at night. We'll even pay you for that. You get that for free. Basically GPA is your free battery. But we agree that once we got to about 10% penetration, which is kind of where we're at now, but 2,300 people make about 25 megawatts, which is 10% of our peak. And that's a standard that most states have used. They said, once we get there, let's study it. So the PUC has started a process already. It's requiring information from GPA. GPA, we did our own study, but now we're going through the formal independent PUC review. They're asking us to provide them information now that we're at the 10% mark to really see the impacts of 2,300 citizens with their own solar system using the GPA system for free. And most of the country is leaving net metering. They're going because they realize it's unfair for 45,000 ratepayers to become a free battery for 3,000 people that have solar. If those 2,500, 3,000 people had to do their own battery, they would have to go buy a battery. They would pay for the battery. But in this case, GPA is their battery and they get it for free. And that's not really fair to the 45,000 ratepayers that are paying for the grid, paying for the generators, paying to provide reliable power to a solar customer at night, or when you have bad weather and they can't recharge their battery. In fact, 99% of the people that are our solar customers now, they don't have a battery. So we in effect are a battery. Now, if those customers wanted to go to a solar provider on Guam and said, give me a battery, it wouldn't be free. They'd have to pay for it. But right now they get a free battery from other ratepayers. And we want to revisit that. The PUC wants to revisit that. And that's the process. The problem with the senator's bill is, one, he's reintroducing the bill. And it was pointed out to him by the bond counsel, ORIC. ORIC has been the bond counsel for the last 5 governors and the last 15 legislatures. When Guam goes for financing, they use ORIC. And ORIC pointed out that the senator's bill would violate the bond covenants that were signed by Guam Power Authority when they borrowed money in the past. And it would also violate the Organic Act. The Organic Act was amended back in the 80s. Maybe you remember this. You were all much younger, but there was a senator in the legislature at the time. And at that time, there was no PUC, no CCU. The legislature set the rates for the utilities. And a senator prevented the rates from going up. And it led GPA to default on its loan. It couldn't make its loan payments. And then the system started to fall apart because GPA didn't have the rates to rebuild the system. And load shedding blues became the next result of having the legislature, who doesn't have the expertise, doesn't have access to the expertise. They're really not the right people to be setting rates. You want professionals or citizens that are involved and have experience in setting rates, and you want them independent. You don't want the utility setting rates. You don't want the governor setting rates. You don't want the legislature setting rates. You want an independent PUC. And so the Congress said in the 80s, if we're going to bail out Guam because you can't pay your loans and because the senator is interfering with your operations, then we want an independent PUC that removes the legislature from any rate setting. Unfortunately, the senator's bill, and he introduced it last term, and the PUC testified against it. We testified against it. The bond counsel sent the letter. We all said, you're violating that part of the Organic Act. You cannot tell the PUC what to do. And since that Organic Act changed, every borrowing of the Guam Power Authority and the Guam Water Works Authority and every other government entity requires the legislature that they not interfere in the operations of an entity that is borrowing money, because that entity is promising to repay the loan. And the lenders, the bondholders, don't want political interference by people that are not experts in the field, who for political reasons would put Guam or other agencies in the same position that it put that Senator Parkinson put Guam Power Authority back in the 80s. We defaulted on a bond. We had load shedding blues strictly because the legislature, who had no ability or background to understand these kinds of issues, was interfering with the prudent setting of rates, and the Congress said, get out of there. And so that's what I'm disappointed in, is I don't understand why you would reintroduce a bill. It didn't pass in the 35th, reintroduce the same bill that would violate the bond covenants, violate the Organic Act, violate local law, and from a policy point of view, gives away the Guam Power Authority system to solar users for free. Whereas if they had to go buy a battery from a solar provider, it wouldn't be for free. And this is at a time when the Guam Power Authority is producing utility scale solar. You know, I don't have it on my house. I don't believe the senator has it on his house. I don't know if you two have it on his house, but we're now getting 9 to 10 cents a kilowatt hour proposals from private partners, the new solar farms that are being built in Manilao. Those farms will take us to 25% renewable energy use in a few years. We're getting them for 9 to 10 cents. Right now we're paying 22, 23 cents to a solar customer using the Guam Power Authority grid.
Long story short, you don't support the bill.
Yeah, why would you pay more for it?
I got you.
Why would you introduce a bill that violates the Organic Act?
What about?
And it's unfortunate we don't collaborate. You know, he doesn't talk to us anymore. We don't have the same relationship we have like with Senator Perez with GWA. Very collaborative. We all want the same thing: the lowest cost energy reliably provided to our people.
What about Bill 9, Senator? What about Bill 9?
Which one is that one?
This is regarding back billing customers. GWA, GPA, because of the faulty meters.
Yeah, so, I understand, that back billing bill emerged from him when GWA in particular was really having trouble. But if he'd been attending the recent meetings of both GPA and GWA, first off, on the GPA side, we hardly have any problem with back billing. Do you know that there's a bot that every 15 seconds is checking your meter now at the Guam Power Authority to see if it works? And GWA now has replaced all the meters that were problemsome with meters that are now working. And we're even suing the guy that sold us the first meters to get our money back. But we now have meters that work. But at the end of the day, back billing, like at GWA, we've collected about $7 million worth of back billing over the last 5 or 6 years. That's $7 million that other ratepayers didn't have to pay for, because, again, where we disagree with Senator Rogel is the people still got the water. The people still got the power, even though their meter failed to work properly. So why should they get it for free? Why should other ratepayers pay for your water or power just because your meter failed? And that's why back billing exists in most utilities around the world. It recognizes that you're going to have failures. Machines fail, meters are going to fail, but as long as you're still getting the service, because we could get a meter that when it fails, you get nothing. Well, we don't want that. But if we're going to give you the service, at least let's have a mechanism to repay it. You're only back billed no more than 4 months. We can't wait 10 years to back bill Sabrina. If we don't tackle it fast, we lose that revenue. But we are allowed to go back 4 months. And in the last few years, we have collected all that back billing from GWA ratepayers, and we hardly have any back billing in GPA. So once again, you're taking away a tool that prudent utilities use everywhere else around the world. You're taking it away, and you're allowing some people to get free power and water just because their meter fails, and you're making everyone else pay for that. We disagree that makes any sense. And the same bill didn't make it in the last legislature, and we will oppose it again in this legislature. It's a matter of fairness. You're still getting the water, you're still getting the power. If your meter fails, can you at least pay for some of it? And the utilities they can't go back more than 4 months. So we have an incentive to go fix the meters. And if he'd attend the meetings, he would see the meter failure rate at GPA is almost non-existent. And we have a robot reading your meters now every 15 minutes. GWA has finally found a meter that works well for Guam, doesn't have the failure rate it used to have. And our back billing has dropped significantly, and we've collected all the other back billing. So I'm not sure what problem he's trying to fix, other than people that did receive services were back billed for some of the services they received, and they were asked to pay for it, and they did, and that allowed other ratepayers like you and me not to have to pay for their water or power should their meter fail. And it's best practices around the country. We think those best practices, we should adopt the same best practices on Guam, and we have for decades. And it doesn't make sense to us that you would take a tool that works, throw it away, and allow some people to get free water paid for by other people.
Just real quickly, Senator, before we move on to our next guest, with everything that's happening with the PUA, we're all in this the sea of uncertainty. We don't know what's going to happen over the next couple of weeks. The CCU, is that lifeline still available in terms of no disconnections for power, water?
Yeah, so far we haven't changed our disconnection policy, and I think as Dave Del Sola alluded to in some of your interviews, we're very happy that the people that have been getting assistance have been staying pretty current with their bills, because no one wants to get too far behind, especially with any bill, and the power bill in particular. So we're getting still good collections. People are still paying. So we don't see a need to change it at this time, and we'll just continue to review it and continue not to disconnect people.
Thank you, Si. What if we go into peak war 2 on Friday, though?
Well, again, I think, we'll meet this month. We watch the receivables every month, and it wasn't getting out of hand. So, if people are making a good faith effort to pay, then we're going to stay with it, because it's still a crazy time. And now you've got this new PUA situation where, even my own employees at the laundry, they're only getting 20 hours a week. We only open 3 days a week. We used to open 7 days a week. Yeah. They use that extra PUA with the hours they do get to work to try to get a whole paycheck. If they're not, and they came to me yesterday when they heard the news saying, we're not going to get PUA. And I said, well, so I'm hoping that between Mr. De La Sola and Congressman San Nicolas and I think all of us that were watching the news of the passage of the bill, none of us had ever heard that you had to be fully unemployed to participate. We hadn't heard that, so maybe we all missed it. But I'm hoping they resolve it to the betterment of. It makes no sense. It's going to be better for people not to even go to work,
right,
than it is to work partially and then get. And then here you are trying to recover an economy and get people back to work, but they're almost being penalized if they don't get 40 hours.
Yeah,
and that's not a way to bring back an economy.
So thanks for your time this morning at 8:23. Appreciate it. I hope you had a good workout.
Yes, I did. I look forward to seeing you there. Although I understand you did the link so you could avoid the 4 o'clock workouts.
I plead the fifth.
Chris.
I plead the fifth.
Thank you for your service. I hope we can work with Senator Rigel. I think there's better things to do than to bring an old bill.
I got an idea.
Past the last legislature.
I want to bring you guys together, and we'll do it at a dispensary in Tumon. We'll just get together. We'll talk about it. And yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, but we learned from the news that the bill was introduced. So,
okay.
We weren't informed. He usually doesn't inform us. We usually hear about it from you guys, and then we're asked to react to it.
Well, don't shoot the messenger.
Collaborative. Oh, no. Messengers are good. We'd like to be more collaborative with the messenger sender.
Right. Thank you, Simon.
All right, you guys take care.
Okay, you too. 8:24. Go right back out into the KUAM News Zoom room, where we head out to Jotnia, where Department of Public Health and Social Services PIO Janela Carrera is standing by